Hello students, welcome back to part 2 of this chapter. In this today's video, we will discuss about RNA and different types of RNA. So first, what is RNA? See, RNA is found in nucleus as well as in the cytoplasm. So there are different types of RNAs, mainly two types, that is the genetic RNA and non-genetic RNA. Genetic RNA act as a genetic material for some viruses, and while non-genetic RNA functions for protein synthesis. So it is a nucleic acid found in nucleus as well as in the cytoplasm. The genetic RNA acting as genetic material for some of the virus, while the non-genetic RNA functions for protein synthesis, and it is in most of the organisms. Now if you see structure of RNA, generally the RNA molecule is single-stranded structure. It may be simple or straight, or may be variously folded or coiled upon itself. So chemically, RNA is polynucleotide molecule, and the components of RNA are ribose sugar, phosphate group, or you can say phosphoric acid, and nitrogenous base. And the nitrogen bases present in RNA are purine and pyrimidine. Purine are adenine and guanine, while pyrimidines are uracil and cytosine. So the strand of RNA is long chain of nucleotides joined by phosphodiester linkages. And there are 4 different types of nucleotides present as A, G, U and C. And RNA has 2 ends, that is 3' and 5' end. So in the RNA molecule, if coiling or folding occurs, then the base pairing may occur between complementary bases. So base pairing like adenine pairs with uracil, while uracil pairs with adenine, or guanine pairs with cytosine. So in the RNA molecule, the base pairing is not fixed and definite. So therefore, the purine is to pyrimidine ratio may or may not be equal to 1:1. Now, types of non-genetic RNA. There are 3 types of non-genetic RNA, and they play important role in protein synthesis in both prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So these are messenger RNA, ribosomal RNA, and transfer rRNA. And all these 3 types of RNA are produced on DNA template by the process of transcription. So this is the picture of all the 3 types of RNA. First is messenger RNA, second is ribosomal RNA, which requires ribosomes subunits, and third is transfer rRNA. So all 3 major forms of RNA are involved in the process of translation. All 3 means messenger RNA, tRNA and ribosomal RNA. Now, what is messenger RNA? Messenger RNA is single-stranded RNA, and it carries genetic information from DNA to ribosome present in cytosol, where it is used as a template for protein synthesis. Now, this messenger RNA is furnished with genetic code, that is the messages, as sequence of codon. And we have seen what is codon. It is triplet of nucleotides. And each codon consists of triplet of bases And this genetic code means the message which is given by the mRNA. It is called as genetic code, and it has some special features like it is universal, commaless, etc., which we'll understand in later videos. So the message of mRNA is read consequently in 5' to 3' direction, and each amino acid is recognized by a specific codon. Therefore, mRNA comprises only about 5% of total RNA in the cell, but it is most heterogeneous type of RNA in cell, and it is varying in codon or coding regions. So you can say only 5% of mRNA is in the cell. It is heterogeneous in size, and all members of class, they function as messengers carrying the information in a gene to protein synthesizing machinery. Now transfer RNA. Transfer RNA, they are the smallest of three major species of RNA molecules. Nearly they have 74 to 95 nucleotides present. They are synthesized by the nuclear processing of a precursor molecule. Then their role is they transfer the amino acid from cytoplasm to the protein synthesizing machinery. Hence the name transfer RNA. Since it is easily soluble, it is called as soluble RNA or sRNA. Even they are called as adapter molecules. Why? Because they are acting as adapters for the translation of the sequence of nucleotides of the mRNA in a specific amino acids. And there are at least 20 species of tRNA, and one corresponding to each of the 20 amino acids which are required for protein synthesis. Now this tRNA has special structure which is called as secondary structure, which is in the form of clover leaf like structure, and it has 5 main parts or loops. They are called as acceptor arm, anticodon arm, DHU arm, T-side C arm, and extra arm. Now the acceptor arm is at 3' end, and it has 7 base pairs. So this is the structure of clover leaf like structure of transfer RNA. So there are 5 arms. Which arms? Acceptor arm, anticodon arm, DHU arm, T-side C arm, and extra arm. So they play major role in process of translation. Now next is anticodon arm. So it lies at the opposite end of acceptor arm, and it has 5 base pairs. So it recognizes the triplet codon present in the mRNA. It recognizes the triplet codon present in the mRNA. And the base sequence of anticodon arm is complementary to the base sequence of mRNA codon. And due to complementarity, it can bind specifically with mRNA by hydrogen bonds. So this is the structure of now rRNA, that is the ribosomal RNA. It is hairpin like structure which has base pairing and loop like structure too. So this ribosomal RNA, it functions, or you can say the function of the ribosome, they are not fully understood, but it is definite that ribosomal assembly seem to play a very key role in the binding of mRNA to ribosomes and in process of translation. Next is central dogma. Now, what is central dogma? See, synthesis of mRNA from DNA is called transcription, and synthesis of polypeptide, or you can say protein, from messenger RNA is called translation. So, synthesis of DNA to synthesis of DNA to polypeptide or protein in a sequential manner is called as central dogma. So in 1958, Crick proposed that DNA determines the sequence of amino acid in a polypeptide through mRNA, and this is the main principle, or you can say central dogma, of protein synthesis, which involves transcription and translation. And these processes, they need DNA to provide the base sequences and 20 types of amino acids, then non-genetic types of RNA, that is mRNA, rRNA and tRNA, and ribosomes as site of protein synthesis, plus various enzymes or factors, and ATP or GTP as source of energy. Now, protein synthesis. Protein synthesis, it consists of mainly two important processes. First is transcription, that is the process of copying of genetic information from one strand or template strand of DNA into a single stranded RNA transcript. And second process is translation. It is the mechanism in which codons of mRNA are translated to form specific amino acid sequence, that is to form proteins, that is the polypeptide chain. So these two processes, they are main important processes in protein synthesis. So first, in detail, we will study transcription. Now, transcription, it is the formation of mRNA on DNA template, and this process takes place in presence of DNA dependent RNA polymerase. So in this process, genetic information from DNA is copied to RNA. Therefore, the process is called transcription, and the script, that is the genetic information, is now from DNA, it is with mRNA. So for the transcription activity, what is required? A transcription unit is required, which has a promoter, then the structural genes, a terminator, these are required. And the DNA strands which is used for synthesis of RNA is called template strand, which is oriented in 3' to 5' direction, while the other strand which is not involved in RNA synthesis is called coding strand, and it is oriented in 5' to 3' direction, the above one in this figure. And a small DNA sequence which provides binding site for enzyme RNA polymers is called promoter, which is required, and it is present towards 5' end, while a small DNA sequence which terminates the transcription process is called terminator, which is present towards 3' end. So the structural genes which is to be transcribed is generally monocistronic. What is it? Monocistronic. in eukaryotes and polycystonic in prokaryotes. In eukaryotes, the genes are split having exons and introns, and the DNA sequences which are expressed or appear in the mature or processed RNA are the exons, while those not appearing in mature mRNA or not processed RNA, they are introns. So mainly this process of transcription undergoes 3 steps or stages. First is initiation. So during transcription, the enzyme RNA polymerase binds to the promoter site and brings about initiation of the process. The 2 strands of DNA, they separate from each other according to the base pair on the template strand. So the complementary RNA molecules are selected and joined one after the other to form RNA strand. So in this way, new nucleotides, they are added and the elongation process is then forwarded or it is carried out. So a small part of RNA remains attached to the enzyme. As the enzyme reaches to the terminator region, both the enzyme and newly constructed RNA, this is yellow in color which you can see in this figure, so this is newly constructed RNA, fall off. So this is the termination of transcription. And initiation factor sigma, it is required, and termination factor rho is also required, which play an important role in initiation and termination. So for initiation factor is required, it is the sigma, and for termination factor, it is the rho is required. So this is initiation, elongation and termination. Now after this formation of mRNA, there occurs number of post-transcriptional events or changes, and these are capping, splicing and tailing. Now we'll see one by one. So in eukaryotes, there are 3 types of RNA polymerase, that is RNA polymerase 1 for the formation of ribosomal RNA, RNA polymerase 2 for the synthesis of precursor of mRNA, and RNA polymerase 3 for formation of tRNA, and even small nuclear RNA. In case of prokaryotes, the newly formed RNA does not require further processing. That is, the post-transcriptional events, they are not happening in case of prokaryotes. But post-transcriptional events, they are taking place in eukaryotes. So in eukaryotes, the RNA is non-functional when it is formed and undergoes therefore capping, splicing and tailing. Capping, addition of an unusual nucleotide methyl guanine triphosphate at 5' end of RNA is called capping, and the removal of introns from RNA is called splicing. Addition of adenylate residues at 3' end is called tailing. Now the RNA which has undergone post-transcriptional event, that is the capping, splicing and tailing, now it is functional. It is functional as mRNA. So you can see 5' polycapping. Then there is removal of introns, the yellow color part, they are introns, they are removed. And then addition of poly A tail at 3' end. Now after transcription in prokaryotes, the mRNA are used in the same compartment as there is no nucleus, while in eukaryotes they are produced in the nucleus and they are transported out of the nucleus to the ribosome in cytoplasm. Now cytoplasm, the ribosome, they are acting as a site for protein synthesis, that is the translation. So in the next video we will study translation process. I hope you have understood this topic. So please go through the slides, listen to my video 2 to 3 times and make your notes. Till then, take care. Goodbye.